Let's take a minute and go over the distance formula again. Remember, the distance between point A, which we're going to represent with x of 1, y sub 1, and point B, we're going to represent with x of 2, y sub 2, is calculated using this formula right here. And I color-coded it so that you could see that I'm putting x of 1, the first x value, here, and the y value that corresponds with it here. And then I take the second x value and put it in the second position, and the second y value and put it in the second position. Okay. This quantity needs to be in parentheses squared, plus this quantity in parentheses squared, and then you take the radical of the whole thing. Let's try an example. I've got a set of points here, -4, -5, and 1, -2. So let's plug this number in to our formula. Notice when I wrote AB, this is the length of segment AB, I did not draw a segment line over the top of it, because when we're talking about length, we don't draw a line over it. This says the distance between point A and point B. So let's go ahead and color code it like we did up above. The first point, A, I'm going to take my -4, my x value I'm going to put in the first position, and my y value I'm going to put in first position in the other parenthesis. My second point, I'm going to put the x value here, and the second y value I'm going to put here. But notice this is subtract a -2. So when I subtract a negative, it makes it addition. So subtract a negative would end up being +2. Now you could go ahead and put this in your calculator at this point in time, but I like to simplify it a little bit first. If you go into your calculator to do this, you'll want to put an extra set of parentheses, one here and one here. And what these two parentheses do is they show this is the beginning of what you want under the radical, and this is the end of what you want under the radical. And so it groups it all together so the calculator knows when you're done with the radical. So this equals the square root. Now -4 minus -1 is -5, quantity squared, plus, and -5 plus 2 is -3, quantity squared. And I put this little mark at the end to show that that's where my radical is ending. So this equals the square root of 25 plus 9. Now notice here as well, when I take -5 times -5, I get a positive number. Don't make the mistake of not putting your negatives in the parentheses. You'll get the wrong answer. So this equals the square root of 34. And if we go into our calculator and do this calculation, the square root of 34 is approximately, now we put these wavy equal signs, this means approximately, because we're rounding the number. And I'm going to round to the nearest hundredth, which would make this 5.83. Okay. Now, from this picture, I can go back and I can kind of take a look and see where this formula came from. If you notice that going from this point to this point is like the hypotenuse of this right triangle. Okay? And the distance up this side is 3, and the distance across this side is 5, which is where our 3 and our 5 came from. So that if you didn't want to use the formula and you have a small enough one you can do the graph, I could go straight to this step by saying I'm going changing 3 this way, changing 5 this way, and then the distance is the hypotenuse of my right triangle. Okay.